Welcome everyone to Science You Had Me at Hello. My name is Melissa Rancourt and I'm the founder and board president of Greenlight for Girls, as well as an engineer, an entrepreneur, and an educator. And it's my great pleasure to welcome you to today's episode. This broadcast series is designed to help inspire the next generation in science. And how do we do that? By asking awe-inspiring individuals to share their stories. The word that comes to mind when I think of the speakers today is impact. And we have a very special episode because we are highlighting young role models from our intern project with CDK Global. This broadcast is brought to you by Greenlight for Girls, an international organization that works around the world to create hands-on STEM learning for everyone, with a particular focus to girls of all ages and backgrounds. And we're thrilled to partner with CDK Global, who is a leader in the automotive industry. Today, in our virtual studio audience, we welcome so many of you. In fact, many of you, which is wonderful to see, but we're also live across 5 platforms today too. So there's even more that we can't see. And of course, those that will be watching the video later on in schools all around the world. And we welcome you from different parts of the world and with a special shout out today, because we have our team, our Greenlight for Girls team online, Indra and Alex, and also our team behind the scenes. But also, I'd love a special shout out to our CDK team as well, Ryan and Danette, for all their help to get us to where we are today. And Maddie, who you will get a chance to meet in just a moment. We also have some fantastic CDK mentors, as well as our returning interns from last year and our new interns, and a special mention to our Boys and Girls Clubs who are also tuning in. So today is all about you. Those joining us, all of you who are our role models, and also those who are listening in after the show. And today we have a special surprise for you, which we don't often do. In fact, today is very special because our speakers don't even know who they are just yet. Because we've had the pleasure to work with our CDK's intern program, where teams of interns created impactful STEM videos for kids in their community across 3 themes: science experiments, STEM skills, and future STEM innovation. In a moment, we're going to reveal the winning teams and speakers, but I need help to do so. So I'd like to welcome on stage Maddie Sakuru, CDK's Global Manager of Corporate Social Responsibility and Inclusion. Maddie, so wonderful to be here with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melissa. It's a pleasure to be here with you all today. At the outset, I'd like to congratulate each and everybody of our 140 interns taking part in the STEM Challenge program who've been with us for the last several weeks. This is the 2nd year of our partnership with Greenlight for Girls. G4g, as they are otherwise known as, are so wonderfully aligned with our corporate engagement and philanthropy strategy of quality and inclusive education, which in turn is aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4. This year, we received over 27 STEM videos from our interns that demonstrate science experiments, STEM skills, and future STEM innovations, including the future of the automotive industry, of which we are an intricate part. Environmental sustainability should be a key tenet for all of us going forward, and we are thrilled to see that come through as a focus in many of our interns' projects this year. We can't wait for the big reveal, but before that, I'd like to express my appreciation to Indra, Alex, and Marie from Greenlight for Girls for their constant support, relentless hard work behind the scenes, and their STEM expertise to bring this broadcast to you today. I'd also like to thank my colleagues Joe, Danette, and Ryan for their support of our interns during these past 2 months. Without their help, this project wouldn't have taken off the ground. And last but not the least, I'd like to thank you, Melissa, for your vision and partnership. Thank you ever so much, ladies and gents. Over to you now, Melissa.
Thank you so much, Maddie. I love this moment because it's a culmination of all this great work and also creativity. I mean, we're too amazed to see all the creativity. And I love seeing how people are taking a look at what CDK Global does and also building from their own skills and seeing what they can take forward to bring to the world to help. So this has been amazing. So this is, one of the wonderful opportunities we have for Greenlight for Girls is to work with amazing partners and teams. And we feel very, very grateful for CDK Global. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
All right, so I think we want to know the winners now, right? Yes, okay, great. So Maddie, I'm going to thank you very much, and I'm going to bring up a team member of yours. So I am going to ask for Joe Mitra to come to the stage. Joe, thank you so much for being with us.
Hello, everyone, and it's a great pleasure for me to announce the winners. So our first challenge tackled the mission to create hands-on science experiments to inspire kids. So a big drum roll for the winners of the most innovative STEM experiment. And this goes to Joe's bands. Members are Cindy Pham, Joshua Cinco, Kyom Nam Kim, Nikita Mathur, Zachary Lamb. This experiment encouraged students to become innovators by getting creative to engineer and design their own car with the power of kinetic energy, all while applying a sustainable mindset to reuse and recycle materials found all around us. They showed us how we can link building a car to stages in software development and how to find great design solutions by embracing our own CDK values of stay curious, be open, owning it, and creating possibilities. Now let's see what STEM explorations they've created, and let's dive into their video clip.
Hi everybody, hope you guys are all doing well. Our team is composed of a group of software engineering interns here at CDK Global, and today we're going to be building a rubber band car. And we're going to try to highlight some of the similarities between the process of building this car and software development. And we're also going to highlight some of the values that here at CDK Global we find important.
Hey everyone, we hope you enjoyed this and are inspired to make your own rubber band cars with your own team. Remember to always have fun when you're innovating with your own creation. And I hope our team, Joe's Bands, inspired you to stay curious, be open, own it, and create your own possibilities. Thank you.
Bye everyone.
Yes.
See ya.
Such a fantastic video, and that was just a little bit to get a sense of what the creation they've put together. I'd love to ask for the full team to come on stage because we'd like to know more about the video you created. So I welcome your team. Hello, everyone. Fantastic job. It's been amazing to see, and I know there's more of a video to watch, so this is going to be a fun thing that people can take a look out for later because it's going to be available to everyone. But until we do, this is our time to ask you some questions. So, one of the things that sometimes people ask about is how do you create an idea? Because you guys could go from a complete blank slate, right? So, you could go to anything and this is where you go. And then people are like, well, how did you get there? So I'd love just dive in, unmute if you want to start answering this, but how did you focus in on this idea?
I can start.
Yeah, Zachary, go for it.
I think the key was we were thinking of building something that anyone could build. And so a rubber band car really you can find almost all the items like in your house or just at a store nearby. So I think that was the main part.
I love the fact that you can, the materials are there, right? So sometimes you see things and like, oh, but I don't have access to that. This is very accessible, which is fantastic. Anyone else want to dive into that too?
Yeah, we definitely wanted to create something hands-on, something, people can do. I mean, for us, we all love like, making stuff like when we were younger, all of those kind of projects. So that's what we really wanted to hone in on. And then obviously CDK's ties to the automotive industry kind of inspired the car aspect of it.
Yeah, fantastic. Anything else from the team? Because I have a further follow-up question. All right, here's my further follow-up question. I'm going to see who else wants to dive in here. And that is how it might be related to something that you believe in. So how is it connected to things that you're interested in, maybe things that you're studying, things that you're looking at the world, whatever it might be. What comes to mind, and especially as you were putting this together for everyone? Joshua, Cindy, Kyung. Joshua, go for it.
Definitely, yeah, I'll take it. So one of the bigger goals that we had going into this was like a more focus on sustainability. That's why we had like multiple members building different cars and using different materials. Like say, at the very end, we suggested like ways to upcycle materials to make these kinds of cars rather than going out and buying brand new things. So definitely sustainability is something that I'm personally really concerned about. And so that was really important in the planning of this project.
Great. Cindy, you want to add more to that?
I also believe that since most of our team members are engineers, it's also kind of relating and tying into their creativity and their building and things like that.
Fantastic. And Kyung?
Yes, we as a team are agreed that the testing is an essential part of the software development. And we wanted to intrigue young scientists' passion by showing this in the video. Yeah.
Fantastic. You guys did a fantastic job. And I can only imagine, is there an idea of where you want to take this next? Because sometimes you're creating something, you're like, oh, next time we'll do this. Anything that comes to mind?
We can put a rocket booster on the back.
That's what I was waiting for. Sometimes when you're putting it together, you're like, ooh, and we can even do more by doing the following. And I can only imagine what the results would be. So yes, that would be a fun one for a follow-up. Great. Well, guys, you did a fantastic job. Thank you so much for sharing your passions, your interests, and putting it together in such a way that will be inspiring for people to learn from, especially our next generation and STEM leaders. Thank you for being here today. And I'm going to invite Joe back because I think we've got another award to give. So thank you guys so much. So Joe, who do you have next for us?
Yes. So our next challenge tackled the mission to share and teach a useful and professional STEM skills that children can apply to solve everyday problems and that can benefit their future STEM's career. So drum roll for the winner of Most Inspiring STEM Mentor, and the award goes to Intern Insomniacs, and the members are Ishika Goel, Aaron Sutton, Arceli Dweschker, Jason Van, Henry Pham. They taught us how to tackle big ideas and dreams with confidence by breaking it down into bite-sized chunks. We learned how visual design and diagramming tools can help us intuitively plan out and track our projects and dreams to make them a reality. The initiative empowers future scientists in their everyday lives by equipping them with key STEM skills, often not taught in schools. So now let's see what STEM explorations they created, and let's dive into their video clip.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ishika.
My name is Araceli.
My name is Aaron.
I'm Henry.
And I'm Jason.
And we are the Intern Insomniacs. Let's not beat around the bush. Middle school is tough. There's so much to do and seemingly so little time to do it, and that pressure can really add up. Have you ever been in this situation? You have an assignment due for school, or you decided that you wanted to pick up a new hobby. You start out super motivated and super excited, but the closer you get to your deadline, the task just becomes that much more overwhelming. Before you know it, you're losing not just your confidence, but your passion, and boom, procrastination. Lucky for you, it happens to all of us, and there's a simple but obvious solution: planning. Let's say you want to make a difference in your community. Maybe you want to clean up your neighborhood. In this video, we're going to show you how to accomplish this project and any other project that you put your mind to.
Now that you have a basic understanding about Miro, Draw.io, and Jira, you can use these tools for your next assignments and goals. By knowing how to properly plan using flowcharts and diagrams, you are utilizing the internet's best resources to help create new ideas in your head. The next step we want you to take is to use one of these tools in your next school project, such as a volcano or a book report. That way, the project should become easier for you as you are planning everything in advance.
Thank you all for watching. Bye.
Fantastic job. I love the theme here, and I'd love to ask you questions. So I invite the team to come on board because I would love to see you on stage. There you are. Fantastic work, all of you. Thank you so much for putting this together. Do you know, this is, when I see this, such a good question to ask, because we all have that need, right? But especially, I don't think they teach this in school, right? Which is, how do you deal with this daunting task of like, oh my God, I've got this project to do. So what inspiration brought you here? Is it something that you've maybe dealt with this project? Is it something that maybe you dealt with from, you remember from your middle school time or even earlier? What was the inspiration behind?
I can start on this one.
Yeah.
I think really what brought it to mind for me is like on my work team that I was on, where it's like a few interns and then a mentor who works at the company. He had this very extreme focus on like thorough and like detailed planning. And I saw how that was really helping like my own actual like work product and being able to work effectively. So I felt like that was a really important skill to pass on that they really don't talk about very much.
It's fantastic. One of the things that create the most anxiety or anxiousness in our minds is actually uncertainty. And so when things are daunting, we don't know where to begin and we don't know where we are, it actually creates the most anxious feeling. And that starts at a very, very young age because, expectations are put upon us. So the idea of diving into something very practical and planning and something to give a tool to all of us is such a great way to do this. Anyone else want to dive into the inspiration or how it may have helped you also personally, even now?
Yeah. So I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but since I was young, I have always struggled with procrastinating on everything. And this has been like, it's a problem that really gets highlighted once you move to middle school. In elementary school, you still sort of have teachers or parents prompting you to, do whatever your tasks are. But when you get to middle school, it's that strange transition period where you have to start taking responsibility for your own work. And that was a huge struggle for me. And that's why I thought, maybe it's really important for the same age group of kids to learn a skill that your teachers aren't actually going to teach you. So, yeah.
And Aaron, Araceli, do you have anything to add?
I do. For me, it was weird because I am not a procrastinator. So I actually learned a lot from my team about the project because I did not know about any of the 3
softwares that we were using. So for me, I just got to learn from them, which was really cool since I was never a procrastinator. So I'm just happy I got to learn from the team.
Yeah, it's amazing what tools are out there, right? And usually, I mean, I just did this yesterday where someone said, "Hey, do you know this?" And I went, "No, I don't." And I'm in the business of knowing these tools, but there's new ones, and some of them are, maybe really great for you to use. Some may not, but it's good to know all these things so you can dive into what may be useful. And Araceli, what do you have for this topic?
Right. Yeah, I was just going to add, also, this is such an important thing in my life and also in just like my personal experience. I have a 12-year-old sister who's a big procrastinator. And so, just seeing her struggles in school and everything. And I just feel like, figuring out where to start, because that's also her biggest issue. And I feel like, teaching kids that you can plan this out and you can break it up into smaller tasks that are more manageable can be super helpful. And like, that's also just super helpful in, my career as well. So just, it's a skill that anyone can use at any age.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's actually one of the reasons why I love that coding is taught at a young age, or could be taught at a young age, because even if software programming isn't where you're headed, which you don't know until you know, right? So even if it isn't, though, it's a skill that helps you put things into a process. And one of the big things is breaking it into pieces. And whenever you break something into pieces, it's that much easier to deal with. So I love what you've done here because it brings out some very practical tools, and it's a great way of mentoring anyone of any age, but particularly for the young audience that we're trying to reach. So thank you all. You did a brilliant job. And I'm going to ask Joe, because I think we've got one more.
Yes, we have one more. And our third challenge as the mission to showcase a future innovation or invention that is being dreamt up at CDK to help inspire the next generation and future possibilities. And drum roll for the winner of the most visionary STEM showcase. This goes to the Emerald Coast crew. And the members are Joseph Garrison, Shai Mawalo, Hugh Fredenborough. This project brings out the creative engineer in us by using Legos and lets us travel into the future of self-driving cars and automation. We learn how to look into the future and become pioneers by using innovative technologies on the rise. We are sparked to be innovators, designing our own car and applying basic programming skills to explore solving future problems. So let's see what STEM exploration they created, and let's dive into their video clip.
Self-driving vehicles have long been a product of futuristic movies, scientific research, and ambitious companies. However, as technology has advanced, we are now closer than ever to a reality where you may be able to buy an autonomous vehicle right from your local car dealership. Compared to your average vehicle, self-driving cars come with many benefits: greater safety on the road, less time spent behind the wheel, and better sustainability due to reduced traffic congestion and electric power. In this demonstration, we'll explore some of the principles behind autonomous vehicles by building and testing our own self-driving car using everyone's favorite toy, Lego. Along the way, we'll learn a few things about software development, testing, and problem solving. Let's get started.
Amazing. Just like the last one, I know people want to be are going to be diving in later on to watch the full video. I would love to invite the team members on board because I have questions. So join us on stage. There you are. Great. So much fun to see how you've created this, but also such a topical subject. This is something that, of course, is future, but also is a worry for some, for many, because it's, I don't know, it's a bit scary. So what do you think about self-driving vehicles? Are you going to be jumping in? Is this something, an innovation now that you want to dive into further, now that you've had the chance to do this experiment for others? How does this topic resonate with you for where you'd like to go next?
I definitely will be jumping in on this because I feel like there's so many benefits to automated driving. It increases safety on public roads. It increases fuel economy. There's so many reasons. Chai, how do you feel?
I think, it doesn't have to be such a cut and dry issue of, whether or not you're jumping immediately into self-driving vehicles, or you can just have self-driving vehicles sort of like in, limited situations, like on the highway, when you're having like lane assist technologies and things like that. So to me, it's not a question of all or nothing. It's a question of sort of like this gradual adoption. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Joseph, what do you think?
I think the same thing. I think it'll be a gradual thing. The more that we get into the autonomous driving cars, the better we'll get with it. It's just going to take a lot of research and time.
It's also a question of where to test this as well. I know that there's one organization that I've heard about that is trying to find a place to test this idea, and they've used a small area actually near to where I am right now in New York, and to test out a self-driving taxi, actually to see how this may be accepted, not accepted by people, just to test it through with the area not being too oriented to traffic. And we see this already in place in some places in the sense of the metro. So self with no driver in the front, and that can be also quite surprising for some. But like you said, it may have a place in certain areas, in certain aspects, and it will take a bit of time for, of course, people to be comfortable with that technology. When you were taking a look at this, was there anything that surprised you or gave you ideas for the future when you were looking at putting all of this together for the video?
So one of the things that I noticed, and it's something that I had known, and it's something that's pretty obvious when you sit down and think about it, but every problem, every challenge, every obstacle usually has several solutions to it, right? Especially in programming. There's for loops, there's while loops, there's a million different ways to loop through some process. And when we were doing the coding with Tirza, the girl that was the guinea pig of sorts for this project, we made sure to give her the reins. Like, you take the wheel, we guided her. We're like, this is sort of the agile process. Step one, what do you think we should do? Well, that's driving in a line. And she was using the drag and drop interface, and she took a block that I was like, that's not the block that I would have taken. But then I was like, oh, well, yeah, you can use any of these blocks. It's up to the programmer to find the best way, or whatever way she or he thinks is going to be more efficient than others. And that's why having creativity in this field is super important. And this just kind of opened my eyes to that.
I love that observation. Thank you, Kier. Shai or Joseph, do you have anything to add to that?
Nothing much, just, yeah, definitely going off what Kira said, there's many ways to solve a problem. So it's not necessarily like only one solution. There's a lot of room for creativity and sort of like extending off what you already know. in terms of programming.
Great. And Joseph?
I don't have anything to add to that. That's perfect. Sound great to me.
Great. And so where are you looking to take this next for your own studies or career? Is this something that you want to dive in further? Is it driving your potential passions, even in the related fields that it might go down? Is this, when you put this together for others, did it give you some ideas for the future?
Yeah, this may not be applicable to my other two teammates, but definitely I want to be a data scientist with a focus on machine learning. So this is exactly what I want to be doing. So this project was great for me as well.
Ah, fantastic. All right, great. Well, thank you, the three of you. This was such a great idea to put this forward. I love also your approach with bringing in someone who is younger to try it out and test it through, and also learn from that as well. You know, learn from your own observations of, you know, of how that could be different, how that could be thought through differently. But to put something very practical together on a huge topic that we know is there around us. And that has a bit of mystery to it. So to unlock the mystery for people is quite important, and also to give that inspiration of fields that someone might want to go into. So thank you all. I'm going to invite you to go off the stage for a moment, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to invite one of you to stay back, because I'm going to invite a representative from the other two teams. But again, congratulations to the three of you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Kier, for joining. I'm going to invite two representatives, so one from each of the other two teams, to join us. I've got a few questions. Fantastic, thank you guys. You know, I would love to have all 130 interns, and did I get that final number right? I know there's a lot of interns in this project. I'd love to have everyone come forward at some point, you know, but that's later. For me, I'm going to focus on the three of you because what's important with these kinds of projects is the idea of mentorship, the idea of learning from someone, learning from their studies, looking about where they're going next, all that kind of great stuff. What I'd love to do is have each of you introduce yourself. So tell us your name, tell us where you are in the world, tell us about your studies, and we'll start there. So I'll just throw it out there. So Ishika, if you can go first.
Sure. So hello again. I am Ishika. I am an incoming senior at UC Berkeley. I am studying data science, very fun. And I'm in San Jose, California right now. So pretty close to the CDK office and stuff. Yeah, that's me.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Kier.
Hello, everybody. Once again, I'm Kier Frettenborough. I am a junior at UCF. And yeah.
And what do you study?
Computer science with a minor in business. I apologize.
No worries. Nikita.
Hello, I'm Nikita, and I am a second year at Santa Clara University, and I'm studying computer science with a minor in math.
Great.
And I'm from Portland.
Fantastic. Thank you. So here's what I want to dive into. So the three of you have chosen to go into an internship program. First of all, I don't know if in your program that's a requirement or not. In my program for engineering, it was a requirement. So we had to have many different internship programs in order to be able to graduate. And what I loved about that is that it gives you experience immediately. And you can also see, okay, am I in the right place when you're studying, but also to start building contacts and so forth. So whether it was part of your program, and if it wasn't, why did you seek this out? Why now? You're in your beginning of your studies, for some of you, and what has this brought you by having this experience now? So whoever wants to unmute, they can go first.
Yeah. So, I mean, as I mentioned before, I am a senior or going to be a senior. So, and because data science is, you know, what I've chosen to pursue, it's not like it's a requirement necessarily to do internships, but it's sort of like a universally understood requirement. You know, you should at some point gain some work experience while you're still in school. And I mean, that was a lot of the reason that I was looking for an internship in the first place. But the thing with CDK was it was
almost completely unexpected for me. I didn't have any interest in cars, but I know that they were trying to expand their like data science department. They had some interesting projects that I could see myself doing. And I mean, I feel like there's some really good advice in there, that it doesn't have to be the exact like perfect, on paper thing. Work experience is always work experience. And I've enjoyed CDK, and working here so much. And I wouldn't have known that if I had tried to keep like a very strict criteria.
Absolutely. You know what I love about that too is that courage to dive in is really important, because it can, sometimes we may feel, and that actually happens later on too after you graduate, which is, oh, is this job right for me, or do I know enough? And these are just normal questions, but you know what? Diving in and just doing, you learn, you go through, and having that confidence is brilliant. So fantastic. How about the two of you?
Yeah, I would say similar to Ashika, I'm a second year, so it's not a requirement for me yet. But I just kind of wanted to get that experience. I wanted to know that this is what I wanted to do in the future, that once I'm in a real life workplace, that I will enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy to code, but like school coding versus real life internship experience is so different. And so coming here to CDK, similar to Ashika, I had no interest in cars, honestly. Like I drive my Honda Civic and that's the extent of it. But coming to CDK, I was able to learn so much from like my mentor, my manager, the other interns. And really, it's so different than anything I've done in school, that getting this was so helpful to know. Also, I was able to learn skills I hadn't been exposed to in this environment, which I'm really grateful for. And it made me confident in what I'm like pursuing, that this is something I want to do. It may not be, exactly something I knew well, cars, front end I had never done before, but diving in, as you guys were saying, really greatly helped me.
It's a good point that you bring up, because that can prevent us sometimes for taking opportunities. It's like, well, I don't know that I have an interest in this, or I don't have knowledge of this subject or this industry. But you know what? We don't know what we don't know, right? So that's another reason of just diving in, especially at this time, because this is a good time to explore and just see. And you never know where the information, the opportunity, and the context might bring you next. And it could open up a whole new world of, yeah, you know what? I really love this stuff and I want to dive in further. So fantastic. Thank you. Here, how about you?
I'm pretty much on the same page as everyone here. When I was younger, my mother made me play every sport that every school had available, so that I could have experience. Like she wanted me to play an instrument, play every sport, so I knew what I liked the most, and that's how I found soccer. And I love it even to this day. I play in college, collegiate. But yeah, that's one thing that internships are super important in that sense, that I know that this is where I want to be. I have a lot of fun here. I meet great people. And yeah.
You bring up also the great point, which is the interests as well, which are beyond actually the things that we're necessarily studying at any point in our lives. Sometimes I have someone who comes up to me who may be in high school and they say, well, I'm debating, do I continue, I've been thinking about going to study engineering, but I also love music. Which one should I choose? And I go, ooh, wait a second. Why choose one, right? You can choose many. And just like you were mentioning, Kira, about sports and about all these interests, they're extremely important because they will open your eyes to lots of things. And there's a great connection between everything. Plus, we like to create lots of things that fulfill all the things we love to do. So when choosing also that internship, it's like, well, yes, but I love this and this and this, but choose one thing, dive into it. And there's other ways that you can explore those other interests, right? Mm-hmm. Wow, fantastic. Listen, I want to check to see, because I think we've got an ambassador online. So and I'll double check, but we have a wonderful ambassador program for Greenlight for Girls, where we have young women from around the world who are part of our ambassador program, who get a chance to share their passion in STEM. And in the case of the broadcast, we like bringing someone forward to ask some further questions. So I'm going to check in with the team and see if we have Jessica from Ukraine. And if so, if she can come to the stage for all of you. We'll give her a second. There you are. Jessica, can you turn on your video?
Yeah, can everyone see me?
Yes, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, we knew you were in the studio audience. We were having trouble finding you, but I know the team is going to update your name. So introduce yourself, please, and then I know you've got a question.
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Jessica Utsumara, and I'm from Ukraine, and I'm the G4G ambassador.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Jessica, for everything that you're doing and sharing your passion. And I know you've got some questions for the team here for our 3 representative. So dive away, ask what you'd like.
All right, so my first question I'd like to ask the team is, what was your most challenging moment while you were carrying out your project? What was something that you found very challenging or very tedious? And how did you provide the solution to that?
Nice question. Who wants to dive in?
Hey, Jessica.
Hello.
So the most challenging part of our project was probably the drag and drop interface we used to program this self-driving vehicle. It was a bit quirky, you could say. It didn't exactly work as intuitively as normal code does. So there was a bit of working around that, but once we got through that, it was pretty great.
Okay. Great example. All right, either one of you, do you have anything more?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably a lot of teams struggled with this, but the whole Zoom, not being able to like work in person with each other was really hard for us, given that our project was also hands-on. We really wanted to be around each other, but we're all in different states. And so working through Zoom, coordinating times, meetings, and, similar designs was really difficult, but we did it.
Yeah, that's a constant challenge also for global teams every single day. So it's good. Thank you. And Ishika?
Yeah, our experience was actually a little bit different because since our, project idea was around actually creating like the steps to get to a project, it was just like plotting things out and stuff like that. So that went smoothly. The part that was a little challenging though was putting together the video and then trying to figure out what is important to show people, what isn't important to show people, making that decision of like, we have 4 minutes, we need to be like very economical with our time. That was actually our biggest challenge, was how do you convey the message in, as few words as possible. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know that's the biggest skill to also cultivate as well. And it's so needed, especially in companies today. And that is, how do you hone in on a message and use those storytelling techniques as well, which I know is part of your project, to really identify what is the most important information and how do you get that across that is impactful, which is again back to the theme of today of impact. Jessica, I know you have another question. We've got time for one more, so dive in.
Okay, thank you very much. My next question will be, from carrying out your project, what is something that stood out? What is something that you say that you learned while carrying out your project, something that just inspired you to give your best efforts?
Nice question.
I actually, since, again, ours is about project planning, I actually learned that I've been doing things wrong for a long time. Like really, I have, because it just goes back to basics that I thought, who taught you this? I didn't know this. Like, did I miss the class where they taught us how to, plan out a project properly? Because that wasn't a skill that I naturally possessed. I was not the most organized, kid ever. So I think that's something I learned because my other team members, they had some valuable insights. The mentor that we had also, suggested, why don't you try this tool Miro? Someone else said, we use Jira in the workplace. Why don't we also mention that? And those are things that I probably wouldn't have been able to arrive at on my own. So that was definitely really valuable for me.
Wow, that's great.
And Kier?
Yeah. I had already covered this previously, but it just feels so important to me, the idea that everyone has their own way of solving a problem, especially in coding, and that really opened my eyes to, this is the next generation. This is the more eyes you put on a problem, the more solutions there's going to be. And especially with autonomous driving and the challenges that come along with it, one person might be great at solving collision detection, and another person might be even better at actually making it follow a line or follow some path. And that's why I feel like you need to have teams on something rather than just a single person going all the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, Kier, you mentioned this, and it's one of, I think, the most important topics that we need constantly to remember. And sometimes we think, oh, but I've got a great idea and I've got the skills and so forth, but they're that much more valuable and impactful when you do this in collaboration. One is because we all, like you said, we all see things differently. So we need a diversity of thought behind us and how we look at something, and then amazing new ideas go forward, which is that much more impactful to what we're trying to do. So thank you for that. And Nikita.
Yeah, so for me, what really stood out was just getting like, hands-on, building something. It's been so long since I've been able to do that. And so just doing this project alone, it was just so refreshing to me. And it made me realize how I want to go back to that and, do more classes in that area and just get hands-on building experience. And especially what Kier was saying, working with my team was so fun and just helped. We all bounced ideas off of each other, whether it's from the beginning, just like, what do we want to do in this video? Or like, how did we want to build this car? We all had such different ideas. We all came together to find the best solution, which is so fun to do always.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for this. Thank you, Jessica. The questions were insightful and they are so on point with what we all need to take from this. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you to the three of you for being our representatives. And I will look forward to being in further contact, because I know we want to take your videos and we want to take all the things that you're learning and give that out so that people can learn from the same things you did, which is fantastic. And with that, I'd also like to thank the mentors that you mentioned working with, everyone from CDK who played a role in this, because that insight also helps with further ideas as well. It's part of that collaboration that we spoke about. So thank you to our mentors as well. I'm going to invite Maddie to come onto the stage and thank the three of you. So thank you so much. And we're going to hear from Maddie next. So Maddie, I think you have some other recognition to give. So please tell us more.
Yes, I do, Melissa. Thank you. We would now like to congratulate all the runners-up of these experiments. So for the challenge category 1, creating a hands-on experiment, in second place is Team Loopy Tunes. The team members are James Miners-Webb, Sumana Shri, Anne-Marie Adams, Juan Aguirre Ayala, and Carolyn. With their maze-dazed experiment, they helped us learn the importance of computer programming and loops as powerful tools to give computers instructions to make our lives easier and solve real problems. For the challenge category 2, sharing a useful STEM skill, in second place is Team Binary Bound. The team members are Madeline Carter, Mazin Abusad, Aidan Zeto, Jerry Liu, and Dachinamurthy Govindarajan. They playfully demonstrated the basics of coding by a game of Duck Duck Goose. The project showed us how we can link and spot ideas behind coding loops and conditional statements in our everyday lives. For the challenge category 3, showcasing an invention, innovation, or technology of the future, in second place is Team Coding Crusaders. The team members are Isaac Howard, Han Xiao, Jasmine Abrar, and Ibad Hussain. This project engaged us in the first ever game show about the future of electric cars. Our show host took us on a fun ride into a sustainable future of mobility. Playfully, we scored points and learned about energy efficiency, environmental protection, and greener ways to travel into the future. Could I now ask all the runners-up to please turn their cameras on and wave for us? Thank you. We are gifting all our interns with a tree planted in either Guatemala, Peru, Thailand, Nepal, or Kenya, countries that are facing the disastrous consequences of extreme deforestation. You will be able to geolocate your tree, meet your farmer who's looking after it, and even chat to your tree through the tree bot. The winning teams will also be receiving some fun CDK swag. Over to you now, Melissa.
Thank you so much, Maddie. I love the idea of the tree. And it's something that, well, one, it reminds us how much we can give the impact, a personal impact to that around us, but also to have that gifted is amazing. But also this opportunity to bring all of you forward, to be part of this process. There were so many wonderful experiments to choose from. It was so difficult. But I love the fact that that we also had further teams to highlight. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you for joining us today. All right, I am going to invite our 3 representatives from our 3 winning teams to stay on the stage with me. So I've got one final question for you. I'm going to thank the rest of you for joining us. So to our 3 representatives, I'd love to ask you one final thing, because it's something we ask for all of our speakers who are part of our broadcast, and that is some final words. So what I'd like you to do is, if you were to give one advice to a future STEM professional, what would that be? So whoever would like to go first, you go.
I would say, in my experience, the best advice I would give is just fail. Like, it's okay to fail. That's where you learn the best and most valuable lessons. Like, your code can be like terrible, and you'll learn, like, how to write certain kind of code, why it failed. When you do an experiment, all, the greatest things in the world are created out of accidents. So just don't be afraid to fail, because I feel like that's something I struggled with a lot when I was younger, wanting to make sure everything was perfect. But failing is sometimes fun, teaches you everything. And so, yeah, definitely don't be afraid.
Fantastic advice. Thank you. Kira, go for it.
My advice would be just keep moving forward. Everyone has the tools necessary to change the world. And if you slow down, there's going to be new tools, new solutions. There's going to be new things every day. So you just got to keep moving forward.
Great advice. Ishika.
Yeah, I feel like my advice kind of goes with what Nikita said, which is don't ever believe, especially in STEM, that you have a limitation. You don't. Anything can be learned, anything can be supplemented. And I feel like this is something I struggled with a lot, that, imposter syndrome. Do I belong here? Is this something I should be doing? Is this something I'm even capable of? But that should be the last thing on your mind. There's no such thing as a limitation, not really. So.
Fantastic. The 3 of you, amazing, because you've hit on 3 things that does go through our minds at all times, at any time along the way. And that's why it's important to ask all of you, because you are in the middle of something fantastic, and that is learning a new idea, new skills, new opportunities, and seeing where you're going to take that. And there's this advice that you've given is going to inspire those that are coming next, those are who are at the door, as well as those who are already past and doing something else, because we're always reinventing ourselves. We're always looking for something new, and we need this advice to continue to inspire us. So thank you so much. This is the end of our program, and I'm going to do one last thing, and that is to ask our studio audience, which there's now more than 130 of you here, to stay in the audience. So don't get out of your seats yet. What I am going to say is I'm going to say goodbye to our live audience, all of you on YouTube, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I always forget one, whichever one, all of the 5 live streams, all of you, I'm going to say goodbye, because we're going to take one last thing forward. And that is, what I'd like to do is I'd like to invite everyone in the studio to turn on your camera, because we love to see everyone, and we're going to do a final wave of goodbye.